sports podcast with the youngest, most daring, intrepid, gutsy, fearless host on the planet. Get ready for Jake's Takes. Here's Jake.
Welcome back. I am Jake, and this is Jake's Takes, where I get your favorite athletes and stars to open up and speak what's really on their minds. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because you won't believe the guests I have lined up. Get ready, sports fans, because Jake's Takes is the show you've been waiting for. Oh, baby! Today is such an awesome day, because our guest is one of my absolute favorite sports personalities. He played 8 seasons in the NHL for Hartford, the Washington Capitals, the New York Rangers, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. During his minor hockey career in the OHL, he finished second in the league for goals scored in 1 year with 62 goals. And he also won the Calder Cup with the Hershey Bears. In the NHL, he was a gritty, in-your-face, hard-nosed forechecker, earning him major respect throughout the league. In 1994, he earned the ultimate accomplishment by winning the Stanley Cup with the New York Rangers. He went on to be the face of Sportsnet's awesome daily hockey show, Hockey Central at Noon, offering his unique insider perspective. Now he hosts a wicked sports show called Real Kipper at Noon that I encourage you all to watch. I hope you're ready as I welcome to Jake's Takes, the real Mr. Hockey, the one, the only, Nick Kypreos! What's up, Kipper? How's it going today?
Wow! That's all I can say is wow. That may be the best introduction I've ever heard. And I'll ask you, Jake, if once we get over this pandemic, can I take you on the road and introduce me to everything I do from here on in?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for the kind words. I'm not sure if I'm warranted of all that respect that you gave me, but I'm not going to turn it away. That's for sure. How are you? How's the show going? I know you've had lots of great guests, so I am just honored to be amongst them.
You're not amongst them. You're on the top of them. You are the guest.
That is awesome. Now, when did you start Jake's Takes? How did this come about?
So back in what felt like 4 years ago, when COVID started and everything, my hockey got shut down and all my sports stopped. So I was really bored. So I said to my dad, I'm like, Dad, I want to start a podcast. He's like, sure. So I said, okay, don't believe in me. I'll do it. He's like, fine, I'll believe in you. So I went on and I ran this YouTube channel. And all the money I make from the YouTube channel, I donate it to a school here in Toronto for kids with special needs. So, yeah, and that's how I started it. And now I get great guests, and I got Nick Kypreos on, so it's going great.
So who was your first guest ever?
I think it was Mike Dorazio, was it?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you called Mike up. You just reached out to him. I don't even know how. You reached out to me. Was that an easy thing to do? Is it easy to find people to guest on your show?
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard, but it works. So
you're not going to give up your sources?
Nah, secrets.
Well, listen, that's very smart of you, because when I break news, the last thing you want to do is give up your sources, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, you're doing a terrific job. I like your background. I think I see me in the background. That's kind of cool.
You do. So, by the way, Kipper, this is just extra special because I listen to your show, and By the way, when you were with McLean and Millard and you were running Hockey Central, there was nothing else like it. Nothing else. You guys were fabuloso. And I strive to take aspects from all three of you. To have your personality and presence, Millard's poise and wit, and of course, Doug McLean's stunning, perfect suntan.
That's quite the combination. That's quite the trio.
So I wanna talk about a few current topics in the NHL, but before we do that, I gotta ask you a personal question about your career. Sound okay, Kipper?
Sounds great.
So you won a Stanley Cup in 1994 with the Rangers. I also had two other Cup winners on my show so far, Brad May and Michael Delzato. But you got to play with the legend, Mark Messier. I want to know for real what Messier was like to play with. Kipper, tell me the good stuff people don't know. The juicy stuff.
Yeah, the juicy stuff.
What's he like in the dressing room?
He's awesome, Jake. Just really great at what he does best. And we know what he did best on the ice. You saw it every game that Mark was involved. You can go and Google it. You can go and watch it on YouTube. One of the best players in the history of the game that combined everything, not just finesse and skating, passing, shooting, but toughness as well. And that's still a big part of the game. It might not be as much as we saw it in the past, but it's still very much a part of the game, especially when it comes to winning Stanley Cups. And he had it all. But the best thing I can tell you about Mark is his ability to bring people together for one common goal. And I know you and your dad have done a terrific job on your show, but once you get a little older and you are a national star on either Sportsnet, TSN, or in the States now on ESPN or Turner, you're going to have this great team around you, Jake, and your job's going to kind of bring them all together so you can have this one common goal of being the best show that you can be. That's the way Mark Messier was. It didn't matter whether you were a Hall of Famer in Brian Leach or a star goalie in Mike Richter, but he valued everybody on his team, and he made it sure that it was noticeable, that nobody was left kind of alone to feel like they weren't contributing to the team. Mark's greatest strength was bringing people together.
Is there any player in the game today that is anything like Messier?
That's a really good question. And I think there's a few. There's no question from every generation. And the beauty and in our game is the feeling like you're passing the torch to the next generation. And I think Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier felt that. In my era, to move to the next era, there was always this sense that you're passing on tradition from one generation to the next. So a couple of years ago, I was watching, the playoffs like usual, and that particular season back in September, someone asked me who I was going to pick to win the Stanley Cup, and we did all these projections on Sportsnet, and people were picking Tampa Bay for the third or fourth time. Also, other teams that they thought they could win the Stanley Cup, like your regular Boston Bruins. But I went with St. Louis. And I went with St. Louis for no other reason that I thought Ryan O'Reilly kind of reminded me of a Mark Messier. Not necessarily at times the flashiest player per se, but could get it done in different ways. And Ryan O'Reilly I thought of him as a real passionate, emotional guy that could bring a team together. And sure enough, when it was all said and done, I was right. The St. Louis Blues ended up being the Stanley Cup champions. So I think Ryan O'Reilly is a kind of an example of a guy that could bring a team together, much like Mark did back for us in 1994.
Interesting. Okay, now it's time for some Leafs talk. Finally.
Is that your favorite team, Jake?
Yeah. This year, GM Kyle Dubas made some significant changes to his roster. He brought in players with significant grit who are hard to play against, like Zach Bogosian, Wayne Simmons, and of course, the Nick Foligno trade at the deadline. But up until this year, Dubas was still set in his ways to fill the roster with skill and speed, blah, 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 as opposed to these types of players. Does this change prove that Kyle's plan didn't work? Doesn't this prove he was wrong?
Well, whether you're a coach, a general manager, a president of an owner, or a player, I don't necessarily look at it as proving anybody wrong, but I look at it as a constant learning experience. And did Kyle learn something about what it would take to win and watching other teams do it year after year? I think it lends towards that. And experience is a wonderful thing because you get to look back and figure out the things that worked and didn't work. And I think that was the case with Kyle and to a certain extent Brendan Shanahan. And we know Brendan Shanahan was this great Hall of Famer, but as president, he's always learning about what works and what doesn't work. And it's a moving target too, Jake, because we know players today are much different from my generation and the generation before that. So you're constantly learning on what works with them, what doesn't, what motivates them, what doesn't. So I just chalk it up to a learning experience for Kyle Dubas. But there's no question that this team now is less of a pushover, like you just said, than we've seen in the past. And there are character guys. Wayne Simmons is a character guy. Nick Foligno's a character guy, probably taking a lesser role than they've had in the past in their careers. We know they were at times frontline players. Joe Thornton is now spoken about as a third and fourth liner, but I think he's fine with that. If it means winning a Stanley Cup for the first time since 1967, when I was 1 and you were just a twinkle in someone's eye, maybe. But there's no question that they all want to do something that I had the luxury of doing, and that's winning a Stanley Cup. Players are in it to win and put their name on a Stanley Cup and have their families and their friends share in that experience. That's what players ultimately want in this league. It's not just about employment. It's not about being rich. There's plenty of multimillionaires that never got to experience in the NHL their name on a Stanley Cup. This is something about what money can't buy, and that's a championship.
By the way, how do they keep Zach Hyman? I mean, they can't let this guy go. In my opinion, he's better than William Nylander. I call his forecheck the Zach attack. Don't ask me what I call William Nylander's forecheck.
Well, again, different players that bring different elements to the game, but I'm with you. I think I watched Zach Hyman, and I think he would have been a fantastic teammate, a guy that just does whatever it takes to win, a guy that can play a heavy forecheck game, lean on teams, open up lanes. He could have played in any era, and they should find a way to keep him. And if it means maybe moving other contracts out, maybe it's eventually trading William Nylander. Maybe it's to the point where, when you're good and you win, you can't keep everybody. And that's always been the case, even in my era when you didn't have a salary cap. It's hard because other players, when you reach success, everybody wants to get paid for that. You're a part of something that worked, that won. And when you don't get that money from your current club, there's a lot of teams that are watching on the outside looking in saying, if you don't pay him, I'll pay him, I'll value him. And I think Zach Hyman could be in a position on another team to make $5-6 million a year. I don't think that the Leafs can go there. It's only a matter of what Zach Hyman wants from here on in. If he wants to take a bit of a haircut or a hometown discount, I think he can stay. If he doesn't want to do that, Jake, might be a bit of an issue for the Leafs to keep him.
I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. The past few years, backup goaltending has been a real issue for the Leafs. But this year, we've got some stellar play from Jack Campbell and he's rolling. I know without a doubt, Freddie's still this team's number one. And when he's healthy, he's going to be back between the pipes. But do you think the Leafs play with more confidence when Campbell's in the net? Did he play his way to the starting job next year?
Well, he's putting himself in a position to at least give the Leafs a chance to look at that and contemplate it. And again, Freddie is in a position of Zach Hyman where his contract's done. And regardless of what Leaf fans think about his play in the playoffs, he's going to warrant a pretty hefty contract for the Leafs to keep him. And I don't think that they're going to be in a position to do that. So I think for the past little while, they've been kind of grooming Jake Campbell to be in a position to take over the net. And so far, his record shows that he deserves that opportunity. But knowing I know what it takes to win a Stanley Cup, Jake, it's going to take, it may take two good goalies to do that. So if Anderson's in a position of health once again, if you don't start him in the playoffs, you certainly have him ready to go if Campbell falters. And when you talk about playing every other day for 2 months and the wear and tear, and sometimes there's bumps and bruises, including on the goaltenders, it's going to take 2 of them and maybe 3 of them if you factor in Big Dave Riddick. So we'll see how that plays out, but no question Campbell's put himself in a position for a lot of people talk about him being the number 1 goalie in the playoffs and maybe for years to come.
Okay, Kipper, you better be excited because right now on Jake's Takes, it's game time. We're gonna play some rapid fire. I'll ask you a bunch of really short questions. You answer them as quick as you can. Deal?
I'll try my best.
Let's do it. Best defenseman in the NHL today.
Victor Hedman, without a doubt.
Who's a better GM, Berkey or McLean?
My partner in crime is not going to like this, but you always go with the Stanley Cup champion.
Tim or Sid?
Well, that's like picking your favorite child. You know, they're both kind of your favorite, but you know, Sid's doing a great job on the morning show now, and I promised him one day I'd wake up early enough to watch him, but that still hasn't happened yet, Jake. I'm working on it.
Who would you rather fight, Ty Domi or Bob Probert?
Oh my, wow, that's a tough one, but I would. Come on. That's like saying, do you want to fight a bear or a shark?
Give me the bear.
Try to outrun the bear? I'll try to outrun Probert.
Donald Trump or Gary Bettman?
Batman.
How much did NBA superstar, the Greek Freak, pay you to steal your nickname?
Not enough.
Simpsons or Family Guy?
Oh, Simpsons.
One word to describe what it's like to play for the Leafs.
Awesome.
Madison Square Garden or Maple Leaf Gardens?
If you would ask me that question before 1994, I would have gone Maple Leaf Gardens all day long. But come on, Madison Square Garden, this entertainment mecca of the world, and where I lifted the Stanley Cup, has to be MSG.
If you need to win one game, who's your goalie? Connor Hellebuck or Marc-Andre Fleury?
Marc-Andre Fleury, without a doubt. This guy, again, Jake, go with the proven winners, man. They've got the secret formula.
Beer or scotch?
Little Buddha. Do you know I have a beverage company called Little Buddha?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going off the board.
We have a winner! Nick Kypreos shoots and scores. You fired that top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. Kipper, how did that rapid fire performance feel?
I need a towel and a shower right now.
Kipper, I got 2 questions to pick your brain, and then I'll let you go. Sound okay?
Sounds great.
So last week on Real Kipper at noon, you and Doug discussed who will win the Hart Trophy this year, McDavid or Matthews. And Doug said that if Connor's out of the lineup, the Oilers aren't a great team. But if Austin's out of the lineup, the Leafs are still a great team. Using that logic, and I'm not saying it's wrong, then how can you not put Sid the Kid at the top of the conversation? Like, seriously, Kipper, is there a better player than Crosby? He's leading the Penguins, who've had devastating injuries, and still lead their division. They're 6th overall in the entire league. He's made Gensel and Rusk into stars. His 200-foot game is better than anyone. Why am I wrong, Kipper?
You've won me over, Jake. You really have. And no one can really argue that at all in terms of what he's been able to do. And this is, again, year after year. This isn't the first time that Malkin's been hurt and out a significant amount of time and Sid's put and carried the Penguins on his back. I think it's absolutely there, but I will say this, that this award is played out through the media and they vote on it. And Sid, as great as he is and what the Penguins have been able to do, they just don't carry the same weight through the media right now as Edmonton and Toronto. And the attention has been all on McDavid and Austin Matthews. And I'm not sure how much attention the media has given to McDavid on this. But if McDavid was in a Canadian city, it'd be much different. I can assure you that. If Sid was having the same year in Calgary, we'd be having a 3-way conversation on that Hart Trophy, not a 2-way that we see right now between Matthews and McDavid. So excellent point by you, and one that I can't argue listening to.
Last question. We might be in for a Leafs-Habs first-round matchup. And with Carey Price healthy, he can always stand on his head and steal a series for you. But I'm sorry, this won't be a matchup. The Habs made some nice moves with the Foley and Anderson. But you know what? You know what the real problem is in Montreal? They got nothing down the middle. Duno isn't a number 1. Kotkaniemi isn't ready to be a number 1. I just think they're not deep enough down the middle, which is so critical. Do the Habs stand a chance, Kipper?
No. I'm with you that they just lack a lot of star power. And I can appreciate even a guy like Gallagher, but those are meat and potato guys that help you win Stanley Cup in a supporting role. They aren't superstars. You need stars to win the Stanley Cup. And you're made a very strong point down the middle. And Kotkaniemi, I like him. And I think he's going to be a real serviceable player in the NHL, but he will never be a star in this league. He doesn't have a finish. I don't think he's got to be in a position to get a point a game. So who is that? It's not Philip Deneau either. So that's a huge problem for the Montreal Canadiens. And Eric Stahl has not come in and given them any juice at all. But it goes back to your original point that the only thing that could save this, I think, is if Carey Price comes in and stands on his head. But we've seen flashes of Carey Price playing very well, including last year early in the bubble. But to speak of him as the best goalie in the world and to carry a Montreal Canadian team, we haven't seen that in maybe 3 years, Jake. You got to go back to maybe him winning the Hart Trophy. He has not acted like a $10.5 million goalie, and I think it's a huge frustration for Montreal Canadian fans. and their general manager, Mark Bergevin, who unfortunately can't do anything about it except hope that he comes back and plays well. But Jake Allen's done a nice job. He's earned his money, but he's not a first-line goalie. He's not a front-line goalie. He's an excellent backup. You don't win the Stanley Cup with excellent backups.
Kipper, this was just an amazing treat to talk hockey with the guy I always listen to. And putting feelings aside, am I an easier guy to get along with than Doug? Low maintenance compared to him, right?
Really low maintenance.
I'm just kidding.
I gotta put Doug to bed. I gotta feed him. I gotta read him a story. I'm too old for that.
Doug's a legend, and you guys have that Matthews Marner chemistry. Thanks for giving.
Wow, I like that at all. I like that a lot. Now, are you ready to come on the Real Kipper at Noon show with Mac?
Yeah.
Would you come on?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, we'll have you on.
Seriously?
Oh, I don't kid. When it comes to my hockey and my broadcasting, I don't kid, Jake. I need you. I need you on my show.
Thanks for giving me this memorable experience, and I hope we can do it again in the future.
Well, congratulations on all your success, and it won't be long before I'm watching Saturday nights, Hockey Night in Canada, or maybe they grab you on ESPN now, but I think you're going places, Jake.